I wonder what's on the tube.
Welcome back.
Thank you for being a friend. What you talking about, Willis?
You are a meathead.
Nothing for you.
Welcome to another episode of Sitcom My Face. I'm Nick Franco.
I'm Jay frickin' Bidwell. Did we do it? Did we make it a week? Did no one die this week?
I think we're safe.
Holy
think we're safe.
Crap! I think we did it!
Woohoo!
We're gonna find out 2 hours from now that some super famous person died and we didn't even pay attention.
Yeah, we're gonna just like click the internet later. Crap.
Damn you! Damn yous!
But speaking of Diff'rent Strokes, now was this your first foray into the sitcom?
No. Although I will say I have not really watched it much in probably 20, 25 years. I watched it a lot when I was young. I remember it on Nick at Night when they had we talked about each night of the week during the summer, especially, would be a different marathon. They'd have the Munster night, the I Love Lucy night, and I do remember a Diff'rent Strokes night.
Got it.
That might have been going on in Grandpa's bedroom, but they also had it on Nick at Night. But yeah, so you mentioned one episode, which was the very special episode, and that one I just happened to have watched within the last year or so. But besides that one episode, I really haven't seen the show in probably that long.
Wow.
And I gotta say, of the shows we've watched, this one was the most pleasant surprise to me. I remembered it worse than it really is quite good.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of surprised. I don't know.
Yeah,
how familiar are you?
Now, for me, like, you know, this is pure nostalgia because, yeah, this is me growing up. I was like 8, I think about 8, 9 years old when this premiered.
Oh, wait, ended in 86?
Was it 86 or 85?
Ended the year I was born. So it ended before I was born.
Okay.
Because I was born in December. You know it was over by then, so yeah.
It's one of these things, you know, you've heard, it's like, does this hold up? Like, after all these years? And, you know, certain aspects of it, I was surprised at how well it actually still did hold up. And other parts, I was like, yeah, maybe not this. But
I really was kind of shocked at how good a lot of the jokes are.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered it relying more on, oh, look how cute Gary Coleman is,
right.
Which it kind of does. But even then, his jokes are actually funny.
Yeah, his jokes are funny, and his delivery is like impeccable. Like he actually hits his lines so well. And when he started the show, I believe he was 10 years old. Even though he looked playing younger because as those not familiar with the sitcom Diff'rent Strokes, Gary Coleman actually had a bit of a physical issue. What was a kidney? What the hell was it called?
Kidney issues are usually what stunt your growth, I think.
Right.
Of all the shows we watched, these might be the best child actors.
Yes, I will, like, these would be probably the most, like, standout child actors. I think, like, the cast of, like, Modern Family, the child actors that they had were good. Like, it flowed well within the show. But these were the standout child actors.
Yeah, I mean, Modern Family probably would be the runner-up, I would say. They wrote them a little more straightforward, though.
Yes.
You know, yeah, these kids were good, and I didn't remember that. Like, I remembered Gary Coleman being cute, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't remember Todd Bridges and Dana Plato being so good.
Right. Although, you know what? In looking back at this, I will say, like, starting with first episode, the moving in episode, that was episode 1. Like, one of the things that stood out to me, she wasn't on screen long, but Dana Plato, I'm like, wait, what? It's just like she came off with like an even snootier, I don't know, came off stuffy at the first like handful of episodes, and then finally I think she got her character better.
And she wasn't even like a main character yet. It didn't seem like,
No.
because she wasn't even credited in the theme until like season 3 or something, right?
No, I thought
Was
it was
2 or 3?
I think 2, but because in season 1 the way they started it out was, Mr. Drummond, Conrad Bain, he has a daughter that goes to boarding school and is only home on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes.
So like whenever you had a night scene, the nanny would be gone, or the housekeeper.
Yes.
Who is Charlotte Rae.
Yes,
who we love
for the first season, it was Charlotte Rae as Mrs. Garrett.
half of the second. She was gone
Yeah.
early, man. She was.
Yeah, I forgot how early she actually left the show. But
Yeah.
it wasn't like left the show as like, oh, I hate this thing. It's because actually they had created a spin-off for her called, you know what they did? Yes, there we go. The Facts of Life.
See, I knew this was a spin-off of Diff'rent Strokes. I didn't realize how quick they were to it, though.
Yeah.
Because I was watching when I first started watching the show today. I did the first episode and the last episode of that season. The final episode of that first season is the backdoor pilot for this.
Yes.
Where she goes with Kimberly to the school, and a lot of the characters are already there. Natalie and Joe were not yet. I think Joe came in later anyway, but Natalie wasn't on there. But a lot of the other girls were. Molly Ringwald was on there, you know.
I know, but which is I find hysterical that like the first season of Facts of Life, you had a whole boatload of characters. Like
Was
with the
Kimberly
girls.
ever on Facts of Life? Did she go to this when it spun off?
I don't
remember her
I don't
at all.
know if she like showed up in maybe an episode or two.
I don't see her on the package anywhere. So,
But she definitely wasn't a constant player or anything. But she may have been on an episode or two. Yeah, when we get to that series, I guess we'll find out more. But yeah, in that the first season of Facts of Life, yeah, they had a real large cast of girls at the what was it, Eastman School? I think it was. Or
so.
Eastland.
And I didn't even remember the whole thing about Willis and Arnold being his housekeeper's kids.
Yeah, that I remembered.
So in the pilot, that I guess his longtime housekeeper had died.
Yes, Miss
And
Jackson.
on her deathbed, she asked if you'd watch my children, and he takes in these little boys. And it actually is really like. It's a really cool show in the way of how it does some of the things the Jeffersons and All in the Family did, but it does them in a much less aggressive way.
Yes, I will totally agree with you. Yeah, it's not heavy-handed.
It's got kid
the
gloves
thing.
on.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with kids.
Right.
And it is kind of a heartwarming show, and you kind of wait for that moment of Phil Drummond, the adopted father, to have any, but he just doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
He has like no racial hate in him at all.
Although, like, we'll get to the one episode if you want. It was Willis's birthday party. Did you happen to catch that one?
No.
Okay. Willis's birthday party. The premise of that episode was Willis, for his birthday, he asked Mr. Drummond
Bring the neighborhood kids or something.
if he could have a party, not just the neighborhood kids, the kids from where he grew up in Harlem, but have the party in Harlem. And, Mr. Drummond was okay with it, but then Willis is like, wait, you're coming, right? Yeah, and, and Kimberly and Mrs. Garrett, it's like, and, Mr. Drummond was like a little, oh, wait, we're going to Harlem? Kind of like, that, taken aback because of the safety issue of going to Harlem.
Especially when you're a wealthy white man, yeah, I would imagine.
Right. So, some of those, if you want to say prejudices in that, were uncovered really in that episode. Because you had, Mr. Drummond, Mrs. Garrett, and Kimberly go into the party, And at first, they had a problem even getting there because, like, no taxi would go from Park Avenue out to Harlem. They were having problems getting a taxi that would go out there. And then once they show up, what was it? The neighbor, because it's at an apartment building, the neighbor of Willis's friend there lives upstairs. He pulled a brother man from Martin, came down the fire escape and through the window. So Mr. Drummond's like, he just takes out his wallet, say, here, just take it. And Mrs. Garrett's got like an air horn thing for safety, like blowing like. So yeah,
I'm just shocked you referenced Brother Man right now. I don't know where the fuck.
Hey,
Martin, have you been watching Martin?
No, I haven't watched in years, actually.
Brother Man, what you doing here?
Yeah, but again,
it's good sandwich.
But again, how Brother Man would make his entrance, just like coming through the window. He would not come in normally. So the neighbor stops by because he heard the music and like the partying. It's like, oh, it came down. It's like, and he knew Willis, so it's like, oh, yeah. But yeah, Mr. Drummond's like ready, like, oh, here, just take it, just don't hurt us. So again, for the most part in that show, Mr. Drummond is not, racist, bigoted, and that. But this was the episode that actually kind of did show some of it, where it's like, oh, we're going into a non-safe area. Yeah.
Well, and if he was being threatened in a way too, it's different than just flat out racism.
Right. Yeah. And, did you see the third episode with Mr. Drummond's mom?
No. Of the first season, no.
The first season,
I watched 1 and 2, and then the last one of the first season.
Okay. Yeah, I watched 1 and 2 as well, but the third one is when his mom comes to visit, and he hadn't told her yet about, bringing in Arnold and Willis. So It's like, oh yeah, like I have 2 boys, and like I'll say one thing: the ongoing joke throughout the series that they've done, it's like, oh, it's like, yeah, you have 2 boys. Oh wait, did you get remarried? It's like, oh no. It's like, oh Phil, you sly dog. It's like, no, it's not that either. It's like, I adopted these 2 boys.
And it probably would have been around this same time because she was a little bit older than me. But I had an adopted black cousin named Alicia. Unfortunately, she has passed. She had some
I'm sorry.
lung and heart issues. But growing up, she was one of my best friends. And they always said we got along like salt and pepper.
So you tended to push it good.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
That's a different website.
No, not that. No, Jesus, no. I'm just saying the salt and pepper.
My aunt had issues with her grandmother accepting her adopting a black girl.
Okay.
From all accounts in the family, disowned for a very long time for doing it.
Jeez.
And like I said, she was, I think, 2 or 3 years older than me, so that would have been around probably 86-ish.
Okay.
So, yeah, crazy.
It is crazy, like when you actually, watching sitcom versus then all of a sudden reality of, oh, okay, what happens when, say a black child is adopted by a white family or vice versa, or, like anything like that, anything out of the ordinary, like air quotes, and then, people's reactions.
Shout out to Aunt Lynn, though. Love you. Good on you, Aunt Lynn. Breaking down them walls.
Go Aunt Lynn.
That's right. And adopting one of my best friends. R.I.P. I would say, if you go by the show, Mr. Drummond here is probably one of the best TV dads I've seen.
Yeah.
If you go by how these people turned out, I'd say he's probably one of the worst TV dads.
Oh yeah. In real life, yeah. This would be a hellscape of.
Holy shit! And I didn't even realize. Do you know when Mrs. Garrett died? When Charlotte Ray died?
Like a year or 2 ago, right?
Yeah, it was 2018.
Yeah.
She outlived like almost everybody.
Except Todd Bridges.
Willis. That's crazy. I thought she had been dead forever, dude.
Now, I was in the same camp. I thought Charlotte Rae had, like a long time ago had bit the big one there, but no, it's like I forget what I was watching, but like it was something where she showed up. I'm like, oh shit, wait, Charlotte Rae's still around?
And ironic knowing what we know now about like Dana Plato's drug issues, and she died of. They say it was a purposeful suicide. I don't know. It's hard to tell, really.
Right. And Todd Bridges, he early had issues with drugs.
Mm-hmm. Did you catch all the jokes though in the early seasons there about Arnold making all these jokes about her being on drugs and being drunk and stuff?
I did catch a couple of them. With Dana Plato.
She says something to Arnold, and he looks at the dad and goes, "What's she smoking?" Mm-hmm. And there's another one. She comes down for breakfast all real tired, and he goes, "Don't worry, Dad. She's not hungover this time."
Yes,
I was just like, damn. I wonder, like, so I kind of looked into that, and apparently she was quite the wild child, even pretty early on there. And I guess her and Todd Bridges had some fun.
Wink, wink.
Lucky bastard.
Nudge, nudge. Say no more.
I remember having a little crush on her when I was a kid.
Oh, same here. Like one of my early crushes was Dana Plato. I'm like, oh wow.
You just play a lot of Night Trap.
I was wondering if you were going to bring that up.
Play a lot of Night Trap.
PS1.
She's in her bra.
Yes, the first PlayStation, the controversial game of Night Trap.
Was it on PlayStation too? I remember it on PC.
No, it was on PlayStation, I think, first.
You know, they just like remastered it and re-released it on everything now. It's on PS4 and Switch and everything.
Oh my god. But yeah, like for all those, like it was the controversial game back then, and like tell them what some of the controversies were if you remember.
Well, the plot, I've never played it, but I've seen a lot of gameplay footage of it. So it was like a sleepover party, and like a bunch of these goony fucking murderous creatures or men that you can't really tell what they are. I forget what they call them.
Yeah, I don't remember what they call them.
Goobers or some weird in the fucking game.
Yeah.
And you gotta, as you're spying on the party, you have to like set off traps to catch these things.
Yeah, you have video screens.
Right.
Where you can monitor and then set off the traps when you see one of those things. Like
it might be those games that are bad luck though, because like the sequel, you know who starred in the sequel of it? Who's also gone? Child star?
I don't know.
Corey Haim.
Oh wow, Corey Haim, jeez.
So, I mean, you never know. But yeah, it was kind of a titillating game, and I believe that it was one of the reasons the M mature rating was made for games.
Yes, Night Trap was one of the example games that they brought out of, like, hey, we got to do something. Just like, again, you were when you were born, there was a whole big thing with the PMRC, which were the was it the parent? I don't know. I forget the freaking name, but they were the group going around that these lyrics and things on music, like something's got to be done to get rid of these, and it wound up. This is why we have labels on music, mature and explicit lyrics, etc. Versus we don't have the music. Because it was a big battle, and actually one of the people I remember on the side of the music industry was Dee Snider of Twisted Sister. He was one of the ones testifying before Congress. Here's this guy that big, long, curly blonde hair, and always wears the face paint. So it's like, oh, is that a girl or a guy? And like that type of thing. And
you're confusing America's youth.
Yeah. So
and boy, did they. They're still confused to this day.
But he was very well spoken, very, very prepared in what in going in front of Congress and the PMRC in fighting the war there. Yep. Yeah, he's also a good follow on Twitter.
There was a time when you see things like Airplane that were rated wasn't Airplane rated G or something? It had nudity in it.
PG. It was
PG. It was
just plain PG, Because
It
there
has
was no
tits in it.
PG-13 at that time.
Right, the PG-13 didn't exist. I believe they accredited the PG-13 rating to Gremlins and Temple of Doom, was it? With the melting heads?
Those couple, and I believe like the first, or one of the first PG-13 movies was Red Dawn.
Is this one of the few shows where the spin-off outlasted the original show?
Are you talking about Facts of Life?
Yes.
I think you're right.
That's the only spin-off, right?
Yeah, no, actually, there was another spin-off.
Really?
Or, actually, no, it wasn't necessarily a spin-off. It was, but they did crossovers. And if you looked on that list of the top 10 episodes, one of them was this crossover, of which I will say wasn't actually one of my favorite episodes. I was like, because I remembered the other show, and it made me go, It was a show called Hello, Larry.
Never heard of that fucking thing in my life.
McLean Stevenson was the star. Fresh off the heels of MASH.
Never heard of it. No, I'm just kidding. Heard of that
MASH, what is that? I don't know. Yeah, it's what you do with potatoes. But anyway, McLean Stevenson and his two daughters. I'll say, actually, one of my earlier crushes was Kim Richards from the... I remember when I was a little kid, Escape to Witch Mountain. And then later on became actually one of the, what was it? The Housewives of, was it Beverly Hills or whatever?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
for better or for worse?
Because apparently
Well, yeah.
she's related with the Hiltons.
Facts of Life started after the first season of this and ran for 9 seasons, so it got one more season than
this.
Diff'rent Strokes did, which is weird. I don't know, I think Jefferson's went like 11 seasons, and I think All in the Family was like 9, maybe? Something like that.
8 or 9.
It's so bizarre, though, when a spinoff actually outlasts. It's pretty rare. Joey only got 2 seasons. What the fuck, man?
What's going on there?
That's
What's the
bullshit.
deal with... No.
Friends got 10. But, did you notice in that last episode of the first season, the Facts of Life episode, did you catch who the head of the house was, the guy? Mr. Crocker was the guy we've seen in multiple shows now.
Oh, God.
He's the Mr. What's his fuck from the Bob Newhart show, the patient.
Oh, God.
And the one that we saw on Night Court again when he was on.
Yeah, because we brought up his name a couple of times.
Yeah.
Shit.
I was like, oh, shit, it's him again. I have a feeling that man's going to pop up everywhere as we keep going.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, like, when we get around to things like, not just Bob Newhart, but Newhart and things like that. I'm sure he'll show up in some way, shape, or form.
Do you remember in the Dharma and Greg episode when we talked about their cameo on 2.5 Men, and I mentioned the Fresh Prince episode? I think it's the finale where they're selling the house, and I told you the Jeffersons show up to buy the house on Fresh Prince.
Wow. What
I forgot was the other cameo that shows up is Mr. Drummond and Arnold show up to buy the house.
Oh, my God.
So when I saw that clip pop up, I was like, oh, yeah, that was who I was trying to think of. Because on that episode, I was like, there was someone else who came in there. And then, boom, it just happens to be this shit that we're watching. Well, in season 2, I think had my favorite episode, and that's the one I messaged you earlier. I want to say it was the first episode. So the ones I'm telling you might be wrong, because I noticed that on IMDb, the episode guide and the way they're listed on Amazon Prime are different.
Yeah. I ran into that too, because it's like,
I was
episode
like,
17 too. It's like, wait, why is this about Christmas? I'm not looking for the Christmas one.
So I'm not sure. It didn't seem like Amazon was missing them. I think they're just in a different order. So maybe one has the production order and one has the airing order. I'm not sure.
That's quite possible because, I was screwed up. Like, I'll say I think the season 1s were okay, but it's when you hit season 2, all of a sudden the order got screwed up.
It's also on Tubi for free, I saw. So
nice.
If you don't have Prime and you want to check out Diff'rent Strokes, check out Tubi. It's a free app. You just got to watch ads. But the first one I watched on Prime was the Muhammad Ali episode. I think it's called Arnold's Hero or something like that. I thought that episode
the hero,
was hilarious.
Arnold, I think, quote, Arnold's Hero.
Yeah.
And that was a funny freaking episode with
I
Muhammad
didn't
Ali.
know Muhammad Ali was so fucking funny. And I think...
Oh, yeah.
if I remember right, I think the title of this show came from one of his little popularized phrases, right? Different strokes for different folks. Didn't he bring that back?
Oh, you know what? You may be right as far as the actual the whole wording there, because like, Ali had lots of catchy phrases. So whether it was from Ali himself. Oh yeah, no, actually, you know what? The title from the series eventually became Different Strokes, inspired by the phrase "different strokes for different folks," popularized by boxer Muhammad Ali in
Yeah.
1966.
So I wonder if that was his little like, oh, look what they did. I'll come do the show. Although this show had crazy guest stars, I gotta say, it was
Oh yeah.
amazing some of the people that were popping up on this as you're watching. You're like, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm not even a sports guy, but there's so many great sports guest stars and stuff. Like,
yeah, sports
but
stars and other just celebrity people like Mr. T.
the
And
Muhammad Ali episode was my favorite of the about. I think I watched about 16 to 18 somewhere in there.
hmm
This one was my favorite though, and like he wants so badly to meet Muhammad Ali, and then the plans fall through. So Willis and Kimberly formulate a plan, basically to tell Muhammad that Arnold is like a Make-A-Wish patient.
yes,
So they slip a note under his door and tell him that Arnold's dying, so he'll come meet the kid.
yeah, and
Did you catch that moment though? That real laugh, which was really funny,
mhm.
when Arnold he gave some line about. He goes, "What is the poor boy troubled with?" or something. He goes, "It's something we can't pronounce." And you see him break,
Mhm.
and he quick.
There are a couple of points that Ali had to hold it.
Well, this was Willis. Willis broke, and it was the first time I seen him break on it
Mhm.
up to that point. And so he like shoves his face into Kimberly's shoulder, and then she sees him breaking, and then she starts to break. So she does like a quick like hand in face and hand thing. It was so funny. But you could just
God.
tell that, wow, look how much fun they were having.
Mm-hmm.
Which we now know is because they were probably fucking at that time. So
Fucking and also
drinking, doing coke.
doing lots of fun drugs.
Yeah, some interview with Todd Bridges, he was talking about how his first sexual experience ever was with her.
Wow.
And he thanked her. This was, I think, was after she died. He thanked her for proving to him that he liked women because he wasn't sure. He had almost been molested by some manager.
Oh wow.
And
Now,
he
that I hadn't heard about Todd Bridges.
Yeah, so it was some guy his dad hired to manage him or something, and he was like grabbing his dick all the time. And
Gee, what did he also own a bicycle shop?
right, I wonder.
Did he want to play
if those
Neptune?
things encouraged, some of the storylines and stuff. You never know.
I wouldn't be surprised with actually one of the. Now you mentioned the phrase before, a very special episode. Diff'rent Strokes was one of the original ones for the very special episodes. But they had like what 5 or 6 of these things, of which a few of them were 2-parters.
The list you sent me, I read a few of the synopses. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is
Yeah, some actually
kidnapping.
heavy shit.
There's some soap opera shit going on. Well, and that one said that Kimberly was some hitchhike. They hitchhiked, and this guy wanted to
and
molest
Arnold
her.
hitchhike, and the guy's ready to molest her.
What the fuck? That's crazy.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, actually, I got messed up between 2 of the very special episodes because again, I remembered the bicycle shop one.
That's the most famous.
Yeah, that's
one.
the most famous one.
Funny, even my one friend Amanda, shout out, how you doing, Amanda? I told her we were covering this show today, and she goes, "Oh, are you going to do the bike shop episode?"
Yeah,
so it's
you can't talk about the show without talking about the very special episode.
That's the known one, the big one.
Yeah, but the what I got screwed up with, I thought there was a scene something with the bicycle shop where Arnold was locked in a room and that the bicycle shop owner was threatening Kimberly. But what it is 2 very special episodes mixed up in my head. That with the bicycle shop owner thing, no, we saw that, the police come in and that, spoiler. But the hitchhiker episode is where the guy has Arnold locked in, I think, the bathroom, and Yeah, and he's like about to basically rape Kimberly. So I mixed those two events. Like, wait a second, what happened? Where's the bicycle shop guy in Kimberly? It's like, oh no, okay, wrong predator.
Yeah. And then there was the one that said the little boy who comes in the later season, Sam,
Yes,
he gets kidnapped as well.
yes.
I don't know if it was a predator or not, but he gets kidnapped.
Yeah, a guy. It's like basically
what
to
the
replace
fuck?
to replace his dead kid. You know, he kidnaps Sam, and he tells like Sam, yeah, I'm gonna kill your family. Yeah, good way to ingratiate yourself.
The Muhammad Ali episode though, that his buddy's name was Gooch. Did we ever meet Gooch?
Well,
Because I was laughing my ass off
here's
every
the
time
thing.
he called this little kid Gooch.
It's not his buddy. He's basically the class bully. Is the
Oh,
Gooch.
okay. All right.
So yeah, like one of the things was like if he doesn't get the Gooch an autographed picture of Ali, that the Gooch is going to basically kill him.
That waiter who they get the room number from for Muhammad Ali. Do you know
Yes.
he's in 4 episodes as 4 different characters?
Oh, that I didn't see.
He's like that guy we talked about on the Bob Newhart show who was just in like
Sure.
a bunch of episodes as
Mhm.
different. But this guy, he was like the waiter in one episode. He's the teller in one episode, the mailman in one episode, the messenger,
Oh my
like just
God.
random shit like that.
It's like,
That's got to be a fun little gig though, when you can just be like random extra guy who's just always there.
hey, going to our clerks background, that Walt Flanagan.
Yeah, true. He was like what 6 characters in Clerks alone.
Yeah, the utility man. That's like, oh yeah, we need a guy to come in and complain about the nudity in the magazine. Okay, we need a guy to play a counselor. We need a guy to play a.
The last episode of season 2 I watched was the one with the Tarantula Gang. Did you watch that shit?
No, I didn't rewatch that one.
This was the funniest one in the most unintentional way because they're trying to do a gang episode,
Oh God.
but it's for like wimpy little 14-year-old white boys, you know,
Oh God.
and they're wearing their cool hip tarantula like those satin like fucking club
Yeah.
jackets.
Mm-hmm.
And Willis wants so bad to be like one of their friends and be with him, and of course they're hitting on girls and saying naughty words, so they're bad, and it's so funny the way they talk them up, like they're gonna hurt somebody, they're gonna murder somebody, they're fucking like 14-year-old little
Urchins.
douchebags.
Yeah.
Right. So he's like, oh, we're getting ready for D-Day. We're getting ready for D-Day. He's like, oh, it's gonna be huge. Their D-Day is spray painting the school.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. That's the big woo.
woo! A real gang would be doing drive-bys. They're over here spray painting the
Yeah.
principal's office.
Yeah. Certainly was no boys in the hood.
The episode is like talking about it because it's talking to children, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But they're talking about it like, oh, these kids are so bad. Oh, they're horrible kids and shit. You're like, shut the fuck up.
It's like it almost reminds me of like, yeah, they're bad in the way that you've seen, of course, Easy Money with Rodney Dangerfield, right?
Not in many years. I don't
Yeah,
remember
but
much about it.
where the guy that married his daughter, Julio, it's like his friend is like doing like the part of a Cyrano. He's like hiding in the bush. It's like, yo, tell her you're bad. I'm bad. I'm a bad man. And it's like, jump up and down. Lydia, I'm bad.
Did you watch?
That's what it reminded me of.
Did you have any others in the season 2 you thought were good?
Let's see, season 2, I watched that one. I watched, what's her name doesn't come in for another season, I think, or whatever. Willis's girlfriend, what does she come in? 3 or 4? You remember his girlfriend, right?
No.
Charlene? Janet. That was,
Janet. Oh,
Janet Jackson
Jackson's
played
on it.
his girlfriend.
Really?
Yeah. Hey, actually,
Well, I knew she was on Good Times, but I didn't know she.
She also played Willis's girlfriend for like 3 seasons, I believe. I watched a couple of episodes with that. One of them was Willis and the Older Woman,
Oh.
where Willis wants to see this band play live, but the nightclub to watch the band you have to be 18 or older. So, of course, Willis does two things so he could get into the nightclub. One, he gets a fake
he gives
ID.
some coke to the bouncer.
No. That was Willis's. No one touches Willis's coke.
That was Todd Bridges' way to get into a club, not
Yeah,
Willis.
yeah, that was Todd's way to get into the club. But no, yeah, he gets a fake ID, and the other part is he puts on a mustache to look older.
I hope it's a big gray like Civil War mustache.
So like yeah, he goes into the club and he's talking to the waitress at this nightclub, and like he's doing well by not being overly aggressive, so gets her number and like sets up a date while he's still dating Charlene in real life.
He said,
Not
sorry,
real life,
Miss
but-
Jackson. Ooh, I am for real.
Good call out. But so Charlene, Janet Jackson was in that one, and there was another episode where Willis and some of his friends are starting a band, and he wants Charlene to audition for the band to be another lead singer, because Willis is the one lead singer. And of course, this was also a way Janet Jackson got to sing on the show. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess early on we did know that she could sing.
You know how long it had been since I've seen Diff'rent Strokes? Is in my head, I wasn't picturing Conrad Bain as the dad. I was picturing the guy from Police Academy from Punky Brewster.
Oh my God.
Remember
Jeez.
the Commandant Lassard from Police Academy was the dad on
Jeez.
Punky Brewster?
Yeah. Oh,
That's who I was picturing.
Holy
And then
crap.
I started watching this. I was like, oh yeah, it's that guy.
oh my God.
That was how long it had really been. Yeah.
Do you know how they got Kimberly, Dana Plato?
I did see they got her. They saw her on the Gong Show or something.
Yes, from a cheerleading team on the Gong Show.
Apparently, she did like 100 commercials though as a child.
Yeah, that part I didn't realize, like that she was in that many.
One story I read said that she had been given the role on The Exorcist, and her parents thought she wasn't ready for such
Holy
a serious
crap.
role.
My God,
So
can you imagine if she played Reagan?
I mean, that would have been huge for her.
Yeah,
Can-
and,
so
and,
I-
and you know what? Like thinking about that though, maybe she would have actually had like the bigger stardom earlier, and things
Avoided
may have
the
gotten to
addiction.
her earlier. Yeah, the addictions earlier.
Well, and she's in Exorcist 2. They put her in that afterwards, but it's like an uncredited role. She has like one scene with Linda Blair. But yeah, she apparently was awarded the part originally, and then her parents said, no, I don't think she's ready for that kind of a role yet.
hmm
So Linda Blair's like, whew, thanks, God.
Hey, be sure to try the pea soup.
So in season 3, I watched the first and last The Magician.
Okay.
Which had Arnold doing like a magic
Next
trick
show,
where he's
yeah.
trying to disappear, and he goes out on the ledge,
Mhm.
hides out on the fucking ledge, and Ed Too Tall Jones
From the Dallas
Had-
Cowboys, yeah.
had a cameo. He was pretty fucking funny in there actually too. And then the last episode of that season, I watched The Athlete, which was like a different school was trying to recruit Willis to
Oh,
play
okay.
baseball, and he was like, treating him with gifts and all this to get him in there. But then he injures his arm, and they immediately those gifts dry up. He's
Disappear,
like,
yeah.
yeah, we don't want you anymore.
hmm
It was those like the ledge one's okay, but I wouldn't say either of those two were amazing.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Season 3, for the most part, I skipped over. Like, yeah, I saw the Magician one, but I was like, yeah, that was enough, because it wasn't stuff on the list really for season 3 for the top episodes. I'm like, huh. But-
Season 4 must have been when Willis's balls dropped, because I'm watching the first couple of that season. He's talking like his voice keeps fucking going.
Yes.
I was like, oh, you poor boy. You
Yeah,
had
actu-
to do this on national television.
Yeah, in season 4, you had Janet Jackson as Willis's girlfriend. There was one where it's like, oh, like, is he going to like have his first time with Charlene there? I think that was like the first episode of season 4.
I think this is where we start getting more hidden raunchy type jokes too, especially about. This is where we start getting Kimberly a lot more sexualized, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh, I will say though that there was an episode of season 1, I believe it was season 1 or season 2, that I forget, they were gonna go on a trip or whatever, and Kimberly, it's like, shows up in a bikini. It's like, how's this? And like, it's like, wait, how old are you actually? It's like, wait, should we be like, whoa, or should we be like, ooh, don't, yeah.
Well, in by like season 5 or 6, in the opening theme, you know how they show 2 clips of the characters and then they say their name.
Yeah,
and,
they have the frozen shot. Yeah.
Her 2 clips when she must have been a minor were her doing like aerobics bent over.
Yes.
And then the next clip is her with like she stands
Green
at like
hair.
a standee with the tits.
Oh, okay. No,
And she looks down and
God.
the standee's got big old tits and she's like, whoa. I was like, what? Calm down, dude. Like, Jesus Christ. But you know they were going, oh, the boys love her, the teen boys love her.
Mm-hmm.
Put a little titillation in there. But yeah, they had her like stretching and then have some fake tits on her. I was like, Jesus. Which ironic, because eventually she did get fake tits. So.
Jeez. It was a premonition.
But there's the ski episode this season where she's going like on like a ski trip and she doesn't tell her dad that boys were invited. And there's a lot of jokes about he's talking about your first time away. But every time they say first time, she's like, my first time? What are you talking about? And they're talking about like sex.
Right. Yeah,
so
insinuating, yeah.
There's kind of like a Three's Company type scenario where she thinks they're talking about her losing her virginity.
Right.
And the dad's talking about her first time going on a trip away from him.
Mm-hmm.
I told you we're going to be talking about Camp Crystal Lake a lot tonight and Jason Voorhees. Because
Okay.
this is the first one I noticed out of many was in that ski episode. And this girl was in 3 episodes, an actress named Dana Kimmel.
Okay.
She was the main girl from Friday the 13th Part 3.
Oh, geez. Yeah, in 3D.
In 3D. And when it's also in 2D. But
yeah.
She was Chris on that. I kept going, why do I know you? Why do I know you? And then boom, I was like, oh yeah, you're the main girl from that.
And Friday the 13th Part 3 is, for all those, of the Jason trivia. Yeah, that's when Jason actually starts with the ski mask. Yeah. Part 1, he only does that one, like, pop out of the water, like, with the girl in the canoe. Part 2, he's got basically, like a hood thing on his head.
He's got a KKK bag on his head.
Basically, yeah. And 3 is like, oh, yeah, hey, you know what? I think he'd look good in a hockey mask.
Dana Kimmel was also on an episode of Facts of Life as a different character.
Oh.
Yeah, weird, huh?
Another one of those multi-role actresses.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, season 5, we get. I think this is the first time I saw him. I don't know if he was in there earlier, but Arnold's little buddy Dudley.
Yes, yeah, Dudley. Yeah, I liked Dudley as a character.
He was in 43 episodes of this.
Yeah,
and also the star of Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. He's Reggie the Reckless, the little.
Oh wow!
The little black boy who stars in that movie.
Holy crap!
They just kept coming. I'm telling everyone I watched, I'm like, yeah, you can tell this is the '80s. That makes you wonder if what was it, Sean Cunningham was just a big Diff'rent Strokes fan, and he's just like,
maybe
I want that one. I want that one.
It's like, yeah, they should be in the next installment. Yeah.
Because they're also in a row. She was in 3. That he was in 5. He was. His real name is what? Shavir Ross. Shavir Ross.
Oh, Dudley.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the heck?
I watched the arcade episode where Willis and Arnold are competing to get a high score in some very terrible looking video game that looks very repetitive. But they just gotta get it, my friend. They just gotta get it.
Yeah. Yeah. The 5th installment, Friday the 13th, A New Beginning. Yeah. Reggie the Reckless. Yep. Shavar Ross. That was the.
And then the last episode, I think it was, of that 5th season was called My Fair Larry. Did you see who was in these episodes playing Larry?
No.
And apparently he was on multiple. Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh my God.
Who looks 10 years older than everybody else at that high school, but he is in Willis's high school. Yeah, he was in at least two that I seen. I watched one and I saw another one on that list. I think that you pointed out.
Hmm.
So I don't know how many exactly he was in, but then the girl he's after is someone else we just mentioned on the Dharma and Greg episode. Jamie Gertz is also in there.
Oh, okay.
I was just like, damn, all right.
Hey,
Andrew Joyce Clay. I think it said this was his first television appearance.
Holy crap! Different Strokes.
I don't know if he
who'd have
was
thought.
Dude, you would not have believed my face when he walked on that screen. The fuck are you
It's like,
doing on
is that who I
Diff'rent
think it is?
He like falls for Kimberly, he, like trying to propose marriage to her and shit, but she's like, "Ew, you're a fucking greasy pig! Like, get away from me."
Yeah. So yeah, I thought when you said Larry, I'm like, oh no, it's like another Hello Larry connection. I'm like, oh dear God. Like,
No.
yeah, if we ever do an episode on Hello Larry, it'll be short and yeah, that's pretty much it because yeah, it just was not good. Somehow it
In my-
lasted a couple of seasons. I don't
In my
know how.
research, I discovered some other Sherman Hemsley show I didn't know existed called Amen.
Yes, amen.
It was 5 seasons. I was like, I never even fucking heard of this show.
Yep.
I think it said 86 to 91, something like that. I
But
was like, I have to check this out. I love me some Sherman Hemsley.
oh, definitely. Let's
I'm
see,
at season 6 already. You got anything before that you want to cover?
Well, like the
I'm trying
the,
to fly through because we're already almost an hour in. So.
yeah, the episodes like I hit were mainly through season 5. I really didn't hit the later seasons, 6, 7, and 8, because I just remembered them not being as good.
Well, and here's what I didn't remember. Apparently, every episode I had ever seen was in those first couple seasons because I don't remember any of these later people at all.
Yeah, the
Who
later
come in-
seasons were just I don't know.
Well, season 6 opens with an episode about at least on the Amazon Prime version. The burglar. You didn't see anything about that one?
I didn't watch that one, but I
Terry Kaiser shows up, who I fucking love from Weekend at Bernie's. He's Bernie in the Weekend at Bernie's movies. He's
Yeah.
also in several episodes of Night Court, which I knew him from there. And I thought this motherfucker was dead, but upon Googling him today, he's still alive. I thought he died
Jeez.
20 years ago. But
yeah, and they're just like propping him up and sorry.
but Terry Kaiser also Friday the 13th Part 7, right there in a row.
The Friday the 13th connection. Someday
So
we'll
fucking
find
weird.
it.
3, 5, and 7 I found in just those episodes that I watched. I
Yes.
bet you every other actor is in other episodes that I did not get to.
Damn.
Because what are the fucking odds? Now, the weird thing is he's a burglar, right? And they have like the little den next to the door. He crawls in the window. You see a problem with that? He crawls in the window on the
Well, let's
30th
see.
fucking floor.
Yeah, the 30th floor penthouse apartment. Yeah. Yeah, but is he Spider-Man?
What is he? It's a fucking balcony. Like, it's not. I didn't see a fire escape in the balcony episode.
No. I didn't see. I'm guessing there was some kind of fire escape because there was an episode with the fire where they're like, there's a fire going on and Mr. Drummond's trying to distract them from knowing that there's a fire going on in the building.
This season, I also watched the Hollywood, the 2-part Hollywood episodes.
Okay.
Where they meet Knight Rider,
Knight Rider, yeah.
David Hasselhoff.
Mhm.
This was a ridiculous episode, by the way. He wants to marry this Maggie,
Mhm.
who is, which you mentioned you wanted to do Designing Women coming up or something.
No, I didn't mention that one, but yeah, we can.
I
do
thought
that
you
at
said
some
Designing Women you wanted to cover soon or something.
point. No.
Because that chick's from that, and I didn't even realize that. That's a show I've never seen.
Yeah, Dixie Carter, right? I think.
Well, she is one of the 2 Maggies. There's another Maggie in the last season.
Oh, okay.
They change her out again. But you meet this woman, Maggie, who, I forget the actress's name, but she was kind of forgettable anyway, but I guess she's on Designing Women. And then her son, who actually is a kid actor that I knew a lot, not from this, but from my youth. He played the voice of Montana Max from Tiny Toons.
Oh my God, I love that.
The little
that's-
red-haired kid.
Yeah.
And then he was Montana,
Montana
Max.
Max has money.
He was also on the show Salute Your Shorts, which I used to love as a kid on Nickelodeon.
Oh, okay.
He was Budnick on there, the bully kind of kid.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, oh shit, I didn't even realize he was like on this to begin with. He was actually pretty funny down here though.
Hmm.
Although Maggie's kind of a bitch, and her son has some clear emotional issues that she ain't dealing with because this kid's fucking always upset about shit.
Damn. Oh,
This kid out
I
here is
have it
always
here.
like-
Marianne Mobley was the second Maggie.
And then it said they actually worked together on a couple episodes of Designing Women.
Oh wow.
Both of
Well, yeah, I know Dixie Carter was definitely on it on Designing
both of
Women.
the Mrs. Drummonds. But yeah, we get the wife, we get the new kid. I guess they thought Arnold was getting too old, even though he looked the same until that last season. He looks real old.
Yeah, that's the strange thing, because really he doesn't look like he's aging for most of the series. Yeah, but yeah,
And
at
then
the
season 8, he looks real rough.
Yeah, it's like more. It's the face that you see that like. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Did he all of a sudden aged 10 years?
That'll happen when you move from NBC to ABC. I guess the last season's ABC. That's weird.
That is weird.
I don't know what. It seemed like it must have been doing well. If it.
Oh no, this was actually one of the like key as far as for NBC, the key sitcoms
Based on guest stars alone, it had to be huge to pull some of these people.
Oh yeah.
Even Nancy Reagan came on this fucking show.
Yep.
Like,
Hey,
like,
just say no to drugs. But
Right.
but apparently she didn't mention that to Todd and Dana. But like
well, of course, Kimberly they got rid of for a while because she got pregnant, I guess, in real life.
Yes.
So they did bring her back though. I guess they made it. A lot of sitcoms they would just say fuck off and ask that young sister from Family Matters. She never got to come back.
Yeah.
But they did bring Dana Plato back, even with her. I don't know how public her drug issues were at that time, but they did let her come back for most of season 7 and then I think some of 8.
Yeah, and then what do you call it? What was that? I'm trying to remember when they did the bulimia episode with her.
I think that was in the last season.
Yeah, because that was something also that Dana Plato was actually really dealing with.
Well, your not so fun fact of the day too. Not only did she die of a drug overdose, intentional or not, even though it was deemed suicide, her son also shot himself.
Oh dear. Yeesh.
So if something's running that family, the guy she was married to at the time was a rock star of some sort. I didn't recognize his name though.
Oh, let's see.
I had never heard of him that I know of anyway, but
Lanny Lambert. It's like, who is he from? It just says musician Lanny Lambert.
That Hollywood episode was funny because they had Arnold running all over the back lot at Universal Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And we just talked about Gilbert with the Universal Monsters. They had some weird. They were just trying something. I don't know, but I was like, "Hey, I've been to all these places." But he runs by like the Psycho house, and he goes up to the door and he rings the doorbell, and Frankenstein answers the door.
Hey! Frankenstein's monster.
Frankenstein's monster. Sorry. And he turns around. He turns around and like the Phantom of the Opera is there. And like, what the fuck? Then he goes by the Jaws, where Jaws jumps out of the water.
Yep.
And then Dudley proposes to him like Mallrats. No, I'm just kidding. No, that was what was the big thing when I was there. Is all the classic show houses, the Leave It to Beaver house and the Munsters house and all that shit had been turned into the fucking Desperate Housewives sets.
That's so crazy.
I was pissed.
That sucks. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you can't turn 1313 Mockingbird Lane into or any of those houses.
You know the one they saved? The one they didn't do that to?
Oh no, I'm afraid to know because it's probably some crappy ass one. Which
it's
one?
It's a fine show, but it's not the one that should have been saved. Coach.
Okay. Really? Coach?
The Coach like cabin thing they saved.
Oh. And again, nothing against Coach. I actually found that show funny, but of all, you know, like, it's like when you think of the outstanding buildings and like of shows and that and movies, yeah, Coach's cabin doesn't come to mind.
Right. But I guess the model wasn't what they were looking for. So like, oh, we'll leave the cabin. It's like, you fuckers.
All right.
But you got rid of the fucking Monsters house.
Yeah, that's But
yeah, this show was definitely better than I remembered it. Did you look up anything on the Molly Shannon story I told you?
No, I did not look up the Molly Shannon story. You gotta.
I watched an interview she did with Howard Stern when her book just came out.
Mm-hmm.
And she was saying that some manager, the guy that was managing Gary Coleman, invited her up to their hotel room and was like, "Hey, yeah, I'm gonna sign you, whatever." And she was like new to the business. She goes, "I was a sweet, innocent Catholic girl who was just trying to find stardom. She goes, I was a virgin, honestly."
Oh God! So she basically is Mary Catherine Gallagher.
Right, exactly. That's what I thought.
Superstar.
So she goes up to the room to like talk to this manager and hopefully sign, and then he just leaves her there with Gary Coleman.
Oh dear Lord!
Who she goes is trying to play up the cutesy card, like tickling her and shit, like, "Oh, look how cute I am," blah blah blah. And I think this was while the show was on. The way she was telling it was because he was 18, and I think she was 21 or 23, one of the two.
Okay.
So he's like trying to play the cutesy shit, and he's not being like aggressive, but he's trying to be playful in an aggressive way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying.
So she's like, "Oh, I kept saying no, because she's like, I didn't even realize he was trying to have sex with me because I was a virgin. I didn't really think about it." And then she goes, he kept jumping down on the bed, and then he would try to like land on her privates and like land on her chest and try to like kind of grope her almost.
Oh dear.
And so she started getting weirded out, and he kept like she said he would jump up and lock onto her, and she would have to shake him off and throw him off. And she gets up because she was like uncomfortable, so she goes, "I'm gonna go to the bathroom." She gets up, he grabs her leg and is like wrapped around her leg like a fucking chihuahua. She said she kicked him off and went to the bathroom, and all of a sudden his hands and shit come under the bathroom door.
Ah!
And he goes, "I can still see you, silly Billy."
Oh my God.
And she goes, I was
freaking
so
creepy.
weirded out. She ran out of the bathroom and ran out of the hotel. And then I guess she saw the manager guy in the lobby or something, and goes, "Yeah, it's not going to work, and you should really like keep an eye on him." And then she left, and she said that she felt really bad for not telling anyone really or doing anything about it or even standing up for herself because she felt like she couldn't.
Right, yeah, because like you said, she is just trying to break into like show business or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's not the way that you want to break in.
Can you fucking imagine? She said, "I never felt threatened because he was so small." She goes, "I knew if I had to fight him, I would win." Mm-hmm. But she also just knew that something wasn't right about anything that was going on. So,
damn.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up. And I just can't imagine her lying about that, especially this point in her career. Mm-hmm. The Howard Stern, though, I think they did say she told that story on Conan once, years ago. But I don't think it caught any traction until
later on. But I heard like Gary Coleman was kind of like, not to say he was creepy, but I think he was, a lot of times he was kind of like, how do you want to say, he was upset at the world.
Well, he did this Surreal Life too, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Well, not the Surreal Life 2, but the Surreal Life also. I don't know which season
actually
he was on,
the funny thing is, I think it was season 2.
Was it 2?
I think it was.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, because I think Vanilla Ice was on that one too.
I remember Webster did it too.
Yeah,
Emmanuel Lewis. Was it MC Hammer and Emmanuel Lewis that got really close on there?
I think you're right.
The housekeeper that comes in later, Pearl. Mm-hmm. I didn't remember her at all.
Yeah,
I didn't remember her, Maggie, or the kid at all. But
yeah,
she
Pearl
apparently is. Mm-hmm. She apparently is a voice on SpongeBob or something.
Really?
She's like SpongeBob's teacher, which I read, Miss Puff or something.
Oh. Okay.
But at the same time, that made me go, I've never seen SpongeBob. I thought that motherfucker would be a grown-ass man. He's in school? What the fuck? That's a child sponge? I did not know that was a child
Could be
sponge.
A different sponge. Like referencing Seinfeld.
Well, I think I've actually exhausted my notes, which is crazy because I had a lot of them.
Yeah, no, I think we covered a lot with if you have not Facts of Life, geez, Different Strokes. Oh, no, one other sitcom connection, the theme song.
Okay.
Who,
Dish it.
huh?
Who wrote it or what? What do you got?
Oh, let's see. Well, the world don't move to the beat of just one drum, especially when you are Alan Thicke. Alan Thicke was one of the ones that wrote and sang that song.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I know his son was a musician. I didn't know.
No,
He
but
was.
Alan himself was also musically
I did
inclined.
notice in the last season there, the singer changed or something. It was a different re-recording of it.
Yeah, and you know what? I never really realized sometimes until doing this show, going back to some shows and listening to themes where, yeah, all of a sudden the theme slightly changes, different singer. And I've been watching other sitcoms lately and seeing the same thing, like the Brady Bunch. I'm like, oh wait, first season, some guys singing, "Here's a story of a lovely lady." It's like I think it's second season on. It's the kids singing, "Here's a story, lovely lady." You know, like I'm like,
Because
what
by
the
then
hell?
they'd put out their album and they were trying to sell that shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The Brady album.
Yes, but the Brady the Variety Hour hadn't started yet. That's a different story.
Yeah, I tried to watch the Diff'rent Strokes remake show that Jimmy Kimmel's been doing that live in front of a studio audience. Hulu has the first 2 episodes they did, but not this one. So I don't know. I couldn't
Yeah.
watch the Diff'rent Strokes one. But if you're curious, they do have the All in the Family Jeffersons one and the All in the Family Good Times one are on there on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
If you know where this one is, let us know because I
Oh
would like
yes,
to watch
yeah,
it
like I had recorded that episode, so that's why I was able to watch
on your
it.
DVR.
Yeah, on DVR. But yeah, the Different Strokes live in front of a studio audience. Yeah, basically Kevin Hart steals the show as Arnold. He's into the character.
I did find they did a reunion movie of this for like a Disney thing. So was this ABC? Did this move to ABC as well?
Oh, Facts of Life?
Yeah, there was
I thought
it
that's-
said like a Disney, one of the like Sunday night movies was a Facts of Life reunion movie.
Yes, there was a Facts of Life reunion movie of which Charlotte Rae came back because, and here's our other fun game to play. Who took over the with the girls there when they opened Edna's Edibles and that and Edna
She opened
left.
an edible shop?
Not that type of edible shop.
Holy shit, they were progressive.
Yeah, really.
Well,
But
Cloris Leachman, of course.
Cloris Leachman, yes, one of our favorites.
From some show we talked about once called Raising Hope. That's amazing.
Raising Hope, Mary Tyler Moore, Facts of Life. Yeah, we'll hit more Cloris Leachman as we go.
What you talking about, Nick?
Which, yes, I love also Gary Coleman in also when he needed money. He was on, I think it was the Ben Stiller show. When Ben Stiller had his, I think for one season, his like a little thing there, and the sketch was like Gary Coleman. He's like he's dying. It's like because he needs a new catchphrase.
At least he never robbed the video store like Dana Plato did
Yeah,
to get $160 and then immediately get arrested.
yeah. That wasn't didn't show up well for
They said
Dana
that
there.
the woman she robbed recognized her and just called the cops and goes, "I just got robbed by the chick from Diff'rent Strokes."
Strokes. Kimberly
she
robbed me.
dropped-
I don't remember this episode.
They showed up to question the woman, and Dana had dropped her sunglasses in the parking lot and came back to get them, and they caught her in the parking lot.
Yeah, again, yeah,
Oh,
addiction
man.
will screw you up, I would think.
That's a hella painkillers, my friend. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But with that Gary Coleman one, yeah, like he's about to crash, but I think Adam West was in this episode, and Gary Coleman comes with like, "What you talking about, Batman?" so he gets a new life with his new catchphrase. "What you talking about, Batman?"
Yeah. Rough times for this cast.
Oh yeah.
I really did enjoy this though. I'm thoroughly impressed at how much I laughed at this show today. I really did not expect that. I kind of expected to go, okay, it's cute for a minute and then be over it, but it actually is very well written.
It is.
There's a few hokey scenes and ideas, but they are forgiven for me. The way they're gearing at kids, I get it.
Yeah.
But still, even as an adult, I think a lot of these jokes are pretty good. Like,
yeah. That's what I was saying. Does it hold up? Actually, yeah, it does pretty well hold up.
And this, like I said, I had not really watched it in a long time. And yeah, out of all the shows we've covered, I kind of had a good gauge on a lot of them. This one, in my head, I had been doing a disservice to Diff'rent Strokes in my head.
I got you.
So this is why we're doing this show. So things like this can be pointed out and go, you were wrong, Jay. Diff'rent Strokes is a pretty great show, I gotta say.
Yeah, and I would put this like higher on our list. Like it's definitely middle to higher on our list of sitcoms, which we will get around to soon.
Even with those two boring ladies they added at the end that I don't really care about. Pearl and Maggie, I don't really care about. But
yeah, well, it's really rated on its best seasons, I would say. That's how you rate the.
You could
sitcom.
probably say it probably went a season or two too long.
Yes,
but still, I think it's pretty good.
Totally agreed.
All right, where can they find us, Nick?
Well, if you are looking for Jay and I, if you want to go to Twitch, you could get Jay over at BidwellFog. Yeah, twitch.tv/BidwellFog.
If you want to find Nick on Twitch, it's NetNick191.
Yes. And if you want to reach out to us on email, that thing that still exists, it's sitcommyface@gmail.com. And
Facebook.com.
Facebook.com/sitcommyface. And Twitter @sitcommyface. Hey, I see a theme here.
I just posted that picture that Kurtwood Smith shared on Twitter of the new 90s show on Netflix.
Ooh.
Red and Kitty Foreman are back if you're that 70s show fan.
I did see that. I saw the still.
I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely got to visit that show at some point in the near future.
Night Court and that 70s show are both coming back.
Yeah,
that's a good time for me. Those are two of my favorites. Two of my absolute favorites.
Nice.
Although maybe they'll turn into the Connors and I'll be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh, no.
To some of the greatest shows on television.
But
I got to ask you a favor, Nick. Will you do me one solid?
Yes. Well, no, I did a solid earlier, but anyway.
Will you sitcom my face?
I could do that, but I think we should ask our audience. Maybe they could
sitcom my face.
Thank you, everyone.
What you talking about, everybody?
What you talking about, Jay? Hey, if it ain't fixed, don't broke it. Thank you, everyone. Good night.